I am Rashawn McDonald, the host of Money Making Conversations Masterclass, where we encourage people to stop reading other people's success stories and start planning their own. Join us as we travel across the country, visiting small businesses and listen to how they are running their companies and speak to nonprofits who are making a difference in their local communities. Now sit back and watch as we unlock the secrets to their success. I'm Rashawn McDonald. I host this weekly Money Making Conversation Masterclass show. The interviews and information that this show provides really is for everyone. It's time to stop reading other people's success stories and start living your own. My guest today is the president and CEO of the Tayon Collection. The Tayon Collection is 100% solely owned by Monty Holland. Please welcome to Money Making Conversations Masterclass. It's about the fashion week for us on this show. Monty Holland. How you doing, Mr. Holland?
I'm well, Rashawn. How are you?
You know, this is going to drop on my podcast. It's going to drop on video, television stations around the country. But for the people who are just only listening to this, the brother looks clean. So, in your best descriptive, Monty, tell everybody what you're wearing.
So I'm wearing a jacquard black and silver jacket. Many would call this high fashion or black tie type of apparel. But my apparel, it's designed in such a way you can go from work to play to black tie and all the way back around again. So it's interchangeable and accessible and appropriate for all the moments that matter.
We're not going to get into detail about that because really it's about you. How did you get into business, man?
You know, it's interesting. I had always had these visions of being in the fashion industry in some way, shape, or form, but being raised in inner city Detroit with a single mom and 3 other siblings, I had no idea how to get into it. So I just kind of put those thoughts in the back of my mind until I got to high school, and I would see my coaches that didn't work in the building come to the building in their, professional clothing. Say, wow, I don't know what they do, but I want to do something that has to do with them, wearing overcoats, we're in Detroit, so it's cold, overcoats, French cuffs, neckties. And I would always notice, even with all the sprints they had us running, how good they looked in their clothing. And I wanted to do something in that world. And that sparked my thoughts of what I could kind of do with it.
Where are you from, Monty?
Born and raised Detroit, Michigan.
We got to say where you're from so we can understand why you're talking about fashion, why as a young African-American male, you were hypnotized by looks, because fashion has always been a strong foothold in Detroit. Why?
Even before the days of Motown, when those guys really, put their foot on the fashion's neck, they always looked good. They wanted to look good because if you look good, they felt good. These are the stories that I heard from, the elders saying, listen, we would wake up, put a suit on, go to work, come back from work, take that suit off, put another suit on for our extracurricular activities. And I've always heard that. I've always seen that. And Detroit's been, a sexy, fashionable city since I've always known.
One thing about Detroit is always had a reputation of bright colors. Now, is that true? Is that
Yes.
true? Is that a true reputation?
You know what? More so than just bright colors. I think that the people who are really into fashion in Detroit would like their fashion to be an extension of their personalities. This is called that. And some people have brighter personalities, so they want to express themselves with their color and their garb.
I got to let everybody know the love I have for Detroit and the fact that Monty's on my show talking about fashion, because I've been fortunate in life, been in the position to get tailor-made suits, tailor-made shirts, but I've never met a person who had a collection, a person who has clothes on the racks. Before you got to that, you had a stint in the military before you got into fashion. Talk about that.
That's actually how Tayon started. So I'm a young man in the United States Marine Corps, and I'm overseas. And on weekends, what a lot of people don't know is that they give you time to go out and just kind of hang out. So I'm in Korea, I'm all these places around the world. And on weekends, we just would walk up and down the roads. Well, on either side of the road, you had these little shops where you can go in and look at fabric and make a shirt in an hour or two. You can make a shoe, you can make a pen, you can make a suit. And I would go in, I remember having these thoughts in the back of my head about fashion and just say, look, I want that shirt, put this collar on it, put this cuff on it. I want that jacket, make the lapel like this, not knowing, Rashawn, that I was designing. But I would, before you know it, I had a nice collection of clothing and people would give me these compliments. Well, I just said, I got a cool, wardrobe. I would wear it out, get all these compliments. I get out of the Marine Corps and those compliments kept coming. So I started to use those contacts that I had to make things for people.
Are you designing for, I've heard terms called fast white guys. I've heard terms called the urban community, and I heard terms called general market. What do you look when you start designing your fashions?
So first I want to go back to something you said a minute ago. You said that, you coming from a position of means, you've always had custom types of suits. Well, taglines is this: where the Renaissance man meets the new millennium man, and where the custom suit meets the ready-to-wear suit. So every bell and whistle or characteristic that you'll find in your custom suit, you probably find in a Tayon ready-to-wear suit. So I start there because remember, all those things that I started from, my foundation was actually custom. I built it. I made it from a shop to my specifications in terms of the things that I wanted inside it. Took those, put it into my ready-to-wear. But who am I targeting? I'm targeting the same customer that likes to be fashionable, that wants his fashion to be an extension of his personality, that likes the type of garment that you're used to, that high, nice garment, but maybe at a price. So I'm thinking about what the Tom Ford, Ralph Lauren, Purple Label guy is thinking about, but at a price point. And, I like to say humbly, I think that we've accomplished that. And this guy who's wearing Tayon can stand next to any of those guys and feel confident that he's, right there neck and neck with.
Now, you're visionary because everybody, like I said, I've met many a man out there who can design suits who may want to be on the rack in a Macy's type store. How did it start for you, Monty?
It's interesting, and I'm gonna go into something real quick because, like I said, those coaches inspired me from high school. But I'll tell you, and this is touching to me because you're such a humble guy, Rashawn. But I want to say this quickly. 2004, I want to say, I was at the Magic Show with a little 10x10 booth. Right down the hall from me was you and your team. You did not know me at all, but you guys took the time to introduce yourselves and say how much you liked what I was showing. Now, I had this little tiny booth. You had a big tiny booth with an upstairs in it. I remember it. And you took the time to say something to me. That meant the world. 1, 2, I watched how your team moved, and I was inspired. By the team, and more so you, because I knew you were the brains behind it, how you approached me, how you were professional. I saw how you guys were moving. I saw how you guys looked, and that always stuck with me. So kudos to you, man. I'm very, very appreciative. So how I got into the big box stores, we started selling these small specialty stores.
Now, explain to people what a specialty store is.
Specialty store is a mom and pop store. Sometimes it's one store. Sometimes they have, 4 or 5 stores. Sometimes they have, like Portobello in New York, 20, 30 stores. So we started to sell these guys. They started to make money, and more came. At one point, we were selling about 1,000 specialty stores across the country. Now, that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, but when you start to compare that to big box, when you start talking about Macy's, Neiman's, Saks, Nordstrom's, it's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. Until one day, I'm at one of those very shows that I just spoke about, and one of the guys who was a customer of mine from Houston, Gary Dante from Supermart, was walking down the hallway towards me. He had been making money off Tayon for a few years. He's walking with another gentleman. These are elderly gentlemen, both Jewish gentlemen. And he says, "Hey, Monty, what's going on?" So we talk. The gentleman next to him said, "Man, that's a beautiful suit you're wearing." I said, "Thank you. That's a beautiful suit you're wearing." He said, "Do you know who I am?" I said, "I do not, but you look familiar." And then Gary chimed in and said, "Man, he's Tayon. He's the hottest line in America. Ronnie, you and him should do something." The guy was Ronnie Wurzberger, and he was the person that built Peerless Clothing. Peerless Clothing is Ralph Lauren, Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, Michael Kors, you name it. And so we want to bring you in and have you diversify the industry, and I'm going to help you do it. And he held true to his word and brought me over to Peerless. He then retired, and I've been there for the last 4.5 years.
Let's talk about this location in Vegas, this show. Can you explain to my viewers and my listeners exactly what you're talking about? When I first met you, when Gary met you, and all these individuals who changed your lives, and it's an annual event.
It's a apparel trade show that's held 2 times a year, in August and in February. And, vendors are there, showing their product. Buyers are there buying products. Celebrity brands are there with licensing deals. Every category, from men's to women to boys to casual to outerwear to sportswear. It's a huge show. It used to be a 4-day show. It's now a 3-day show. And it is just where the whole fashion industry converges in 1 week to represent their fields. And that's where I decided I was going to go. I had no industry knowledge. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I worked for Pfizer Pharmaceutical, had a little money in my pocket. I was the number 1 Viagra rep in America at that time. And I took 4 of my buddies, took 15 suits, got that little 10 by 10. And luckily, and I mean this, because it was so last minute, there was only 1 10 by 10 space left, which is the smallest booth, and it was down the hall from where you were.
Of course, it's not a place where they let just everyday people walk in. You got to have passes as well, secure. But to get in there is almost a validation that you're legit, correct?
For sure. And it's certainly not cheap. That little 10 by 10 booth that I had in 2004, boy, we probably spent $30,000 just to get the booth, just to move the things in, to ship the things in. I mean, that was a lot of money for a brother trying to come up.
Okay, so now you're in there, you brought your 15 suits, your boys, and looking good. I met them all. I remember this moment because, young brother looking good, man. The one thing I've always said about myself is that I'm going to extend a hand and I want to know how I can expand. And over the years, we've stayed in contact. He's invited me out to the shows at the Magic to want to know my thoughts. I bought his clothes, but I'm not having him on the show to talk about the clothes I bought from him. It's his journey, his secrets to success. And the money, you're getting these clothes, you're selling, you're number 1 salesman at Pfizer, but now you're getting into the fashion business. And necessarily, everybody, the clothes you send out don't mean people going to buy them. How does all that manufacture itself, my brother?
So I learned my business acumen, certainly in the apparel industry, through the School of Hard Knocks. I don't know many 6'3", 240-pound Marine Corps trained Detroiters that can say they stole millions from me, and I know where they are, and I didn't catch a case. So, because I got to tell you, and I say that lightheartedly, but there were times when it was tough, because as we started to grow and as we started to make money and we were selling this product, I started to ask questions. Okay, so where's the money? What's happening with this? I didn't quite understand the business side of it, and that's the most important side. You can have the hottest garments in the world. If you don't understand the business of it, you will lose and you will fail. So as we're making this hot product, stores are buying it, and, I'm not understanding how to track it. I'm not understanding the true cost of the garment, meaning the cost of fabric, meaning the cost of production, meaning the landed cost, meaning the warehouse cost, meaning the wholesale cost, and as it relates to what you should be paying me. I had to learn those things the hard way, and unfortunately, a lot of these smaller licensing companies didn't play above board, and we had to leave a couple of them because they quite literally stole.
Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Money Making Conversations Masterclass. Welcome back to the Money Making Conversations Masterclass, hosted by Rushion McDonald.
The interesting thing about it, because this is like Money Making Conversation Masterclass, and I try to educate my audience on terminology that's very popular in the word licensing. What does that mean, and how does that impact how you're going to do relations with various vendors?
So that's a great question, and here's how I like to sum it up in short, so that people have an understanding of it. Licensing in short means this: would you rather have all of $1 million or 10% of $100 million? I think the latter. But how do you do that? I tell guys all the time. They say, "Hey man, I want to get into the industry and I'm ready to do it. You did, I can do it." And I say, "Yeah, you're right. But what happens if you do show Macy something and they say we like it? Now give us 40,000 units. 40,000 units is about $4 million. Do you have $4 million to make it? 2, do you have the wherewithal to wait to be paid several months for it? And then 3, do you have another $4 million to have another boat coming here with another $4 million on it? If the answer is no, then you probably should be considering a licensing deal, because they're going to do the heavy lifting. They're going to pay for the fabric. They're going to pay for the production of fabric. They're going to pay for fabric, pay for the product, pay to make the product, bring it here, warehouse it, sell it to the customers, paying a royalty based off of those sales. You then just need to negotiate a royalty deal that makes sense for you, understanding what the overall profit margin is. You know, so if there's 30% margin in it, anything double digit for you is solid, because they're doing all the heavy lifting.
You know, the interesting thing about it was that this year, Macy's came out with this Divine 9 fashion line.
Yes.
And I'm not going to lie to you, Monty. As soon as I saw it, I went, this Tayon. And then I did my research, and it was you. Tell us how that relationship happened, and why did you do it?
I had heard about this initiative they had tried a couple of years ago. They tried it with the sororities. The young lady who was a dress buyer at Macy's, she's a Zeta. She had been asking to do this because she was trying to express to them the gravity of the sororities and fraternities. You know, are educated people with means. These are people that are around the world. These are people that know what they want and can galvanize, you know, groups of people that can support an initiative, you know, that are huge in philanthropic areas, huge in the community. You know the whole deal. Did it. They do these wrap dresses, panel wrap dresses. Boom, $10 million out the door. I think they sold $10 million in a week or so. They did great. She caught a little bit of flack because what she did was she went to a manufacturer who is, let's just say they're not minority owned. Went to them and they made these dresses. And somebody who's in the industry, I think it's Roland Martin, and I'm not sure if he's an alpha or a
he's an
Q,
alpha. He's an alpha.
He said,
I'm a Q.
He said, we appreciate the sister for doing this. However, she couldn't find any African-American vendors. So Macy's then, and there was a lot of flack, there was a lot of pressure on it.
The equity and inclusion was on file right now.
They said that, okay, we know that there's something here, but let's do this thing the right way. So what they did was they went to all of the presidents, and they talked about how they would partner. They would partner via workshops. They would partner via internships. They would partner with the regional initiatives. You know, all the different things you do in the community. And then they said, we're going to donate to all of the organizations. I think to date, they've donated north of $3 million to both the sororities and fraternities. The only holdout is the AKAs. They're holding out right now. And once I heard that they were doing all those things, they came to me and said, okay, look, you're a minority-owned vendor. You're doing pretty well in Macy's. Would you be willing to do this? And when I realized that their commitment to it was honest and they were going to do what they said they were going to do, and they were actually doing it, I said, I'm in. So they came to me and said, can you do the tailor clothing, the jackets, the vests, the pants, the ties, the shirts, outerwear? And I said, sure. So in order to make sure that everything is being followed up with and done properly, I go to these workshops. I go to these regional conferences. I'm going to be at your national convention in Texas.
Okay, cool.
I'll be there. So they're doing what they said they're going to do. We created a really nice product, and it's going to evolve to be something that's very special.
Well, you know, Stephen A. Smith, who was my frat brother, as soon as he saw the line, he went, I got to get a suit. I got to get that look. Because, you know, purple and gold, that's a hard look to get right. You know, because I've seen many of my frat brothers look, why are you doing that to yourself? Why are you doing that to yourself? And so, but these are colors, you know, and the reason I bring it up because these aren't like everyday colors, but they went to a Detroit man. See, Detroit men know about them colors. They know how to make those colors work for the everyday person. Talk to us about the color schemes and also your vision of making it comfortable for the everyday brother who want to wear it to work, who want to wear it to church, who want to wear it out to a festive occasion that's high fashion.
So that's exactly what we did. What we did was, just so you know, the collection is done in the signature colors of all of the fraternities. We're not using any of your signs, any of your lettering, any of your specific logos, just the colors. I said, okay, well, I can take these colors and I can make them interchangeable so that if you know, you know, but if you don't know, hey, that's a cool purple jacket. I could put this white shirt that has a little bit of purple in it with that jacket. I could put this white pant in it and wear it during the spring and in the summer and be sharp as heck. So I did that throughout the whole collection, and I made it such that you can dress it up, you can dress it down, you can dress it casual with the jacket, without a jacket. And it seems to be working because we did some really cool shirts that you can see some of the bells and whistles without the jacket, but when you put a jacket on, now it looks like a regular shirt. If you put a tie on with it, you can't see the paneling that we did down the front. You can't see the treatment that we did up under the cuff. So if you did it without a jacket, you want to wear it on a casual level, flip the sleeve up and see the purple and white treatment up under the cuff. Wear it open a little bit and show inside the placket to see the purple on it. So we did some things to make it for the everyday guy. We did some things to make it for the guy that wants to wear it to black tie and the guy who wants to wear it to work and stand out a little bit.
Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Money Making Conversations Masterclass. Welcome back to the Money Making Conversations Masterclass, hosted by Rushion McDonald.
The beautiful thing about interviewing Monte is that he makes you smile because you love what you do, don't you?
I do, 100%. And I tell people all the time that we have these gifts. And because we do it, it comes easy to us. We don't look at it as something that we can monetize or something that we can make a living at. So I spend a lot of time trying to, one, inspire people like you inspired me, like my coaches inspired me, but two, to try to explain to them, if you're that guy or that woman that wakes up and you put your makeup up really well, you do your hair really well, you dress nicely, and people are always complimenting you on it, it may be something that you could do and monetize. So think about that. Those are our gifts. I don't draw or sew. I tell people that all the time, and they say, what? I said, but my gift is I can look at 1,000 fabrics, and I can remember swatch 976 tied into swatch 8, and they can go together, and I can do something with it. And every time I go to a fabric mill, no matter where in the world, Turkey, China, wherever, they're always amazed at that. But that's my gift. And I like to, see around corners and do things that I think are coming, and it happens to work every single season. So you have to love what you do. You hear that little voice, and you want to step out, become an entrepreneur. You need to maybe try it. You will not fail.
That's the beauty of my relationship with you. Like I said, you invited me out to one of your magic shows, your collection showing, and one of the primary conversations that I had with him wasn't about the collection, about what you do for the community, your philanthropic side.
Yes.
Why is that so important?
It's important because I was that little boy who, like I said, I would look at my coach and see how they would dress. I didn't have a father in the house, and that inspired me in such a way that I wanted to make sure I number one, inspired, but number two, I was also an athlete. I wasn't a highly heralded athlete. I came out of high school in Detroit when literally every team in Detroit had either 2 or 3 Division I's or 1 or 2 NBA guys on it. I was in high school guarding Derrick Coleman.
Right. Big DC.
You know what I mean? Right down the street was Perry Mills right there. T. Will. T. Will's team had 16 scholarships, full ride. Rashad, it's 15 players on the team. Their water boy got a full ride scholarship. So I came out then, so I was pretty good, but I didn't have a lot of schools beating down my door. So I decided that I wanted to, because I had a lot of relationships. I ultimately got a scholarship for basketball to college. So I built relationships with these schools in the region that I went to school, and I started to send guys. I started to work guys out. I started to mentor guys, and I started to send guys to school. Before I knew it, I had 50, 60 scholarships, and I just loved it. I fell in love with securing scholarships for young African-American boys. And then I would stay with them as they matriculated through school, mentor them and talk to them about their gifts, talk to them about how to, get a job, keep a job, and or step out on faith and become an entrepreneur. And like I said, to date, we have 63 full-ride scholarships, and I'm just as passionate about that as I am about
and I love it. I love that. I love the fact that you are engaged in the community. I love the fact that you love Detroit. I love the fact when this the same smile I saw in 2004, I'm seeing in 2024. What's the future?
So the future is this. The line is doing very well in several big box stores. The line is doing well in specialty stores. I have licensing deals with 4 companies right now, all based in New York. stores are asking us for other categories. They're asking for casual. They're asking for women's. They want to expand the categories. So in the future, we're going to be expanding the categories to have a full collection, men's, women's, young people. And then, Rashawn, we want to take this thing abroad. We want to take it to other countries. I want to quite literally grow this like a heritage brand. Why not? These guys are doing billions of dollars, and it's not so much about the money as it is what God showed me we're supposed to be doing. So I want to walk in that. I want to take this as far as we can take it, and I believe there is no mountaintop, but it's a legacy brand that could be here for years and years to come, and that's what I want to build.
Thank you for taking the time to come on Money Making Conversations, Monte. And again, Tayon Collection, he already told you, is out there. But more importantly, if you're near Macy's, go in and check out the collection. Check out his brand. Is there a website you can tell us about, Tayon? Collections available on?
Yes. So all of my IG and social is at Tayon Collection. That's Tayyon Collection. And LinkedIn is Tayon Collection and Monty Holland. Monty with 2 E's, Holland like the country. And if you want to do that special thing, you go to tayon.com, and that's just Tayyon.com, because we still do things that are, a little bit higher level. That's my Ralph Lauren purple label. We have that
Thank you
too.
for coming on my show, Money Making Conversations, Monty Holland, Tayon Collection. He's a star, y'all. He's a visionary, and he's based in Detroit.
Thank you so much, Rashawn. It's my pleasure.